So, not every conversation is meant to go public. However, I do believe that the reason why there's such a resistance to finally healing the mother wound is because a lot of y'all are meant to be leaders. And what type of leader are you going to be if you're in a space to where you're being the thing that already was, yet you aren't being who you are? And what is going to be the thing, what is going to be the energy, the frequency that you meant to tap into for you to be able to get to the rate of what you're asking for. Healing the mother wound isn't just about forgiving, okay? Sitting with Zakiel. Archangels are so powerful, y'all, because they'll show up and they'll wait for you to give them permission. But they're already doing just by allowing you to have a space where you're illuminating the thing that you may not necessarily want to properly perceive, right? So you may be going through something, but you don't know. You don't understand how powerful it is, y'all, when we sit and we have the ability to be conscious enough to sit and depict and dissect what it is and how it is that we're being. These are things that can't be taken from you. We living in a space, y'all, where they're showing us all of the food is messed up. You can't go into any restaurant because these restaurants are really, really treacherous. They feeding y'all dogs and shit. It's crazy out here. But then you dealing with politics and you never really could trust the politics, but everything is being basically the curtains have fallen. You could see behind the stage. You could see the playing characters. You could see the people who are puppets. Everything is being revealed. And if you're at this rate where you're still outside of yourself, knocking on somebody else's door, trying to get inside of you, you don't really understand what it means to be sovereign. You don't know what it means to be free. And I hold on to something like a wound instead of me saying, hey, spirit, this is this type of cut. How do I heal this? How do I start and actually begin to do wound care? Because that's what it is. You know, sometimes you just doing some wound care. I had to start dealing with the bones. I had to get some 128 hertz so I could penetrate, the muscle to be able to get deep enough for me to recognize, okay, nervous system, you might have been fearful to address these things. Now you addressing these things publicly. You might not actually get the response that you wanted. I had to prepare myself. I told y'all I had to put on an armor, because I was going to be speaking about some things that people don't want you to talk about because of the hive mind, the hive mentality. No, you can't say that. You can't bring the attention here. Everybody, a lot of things will be said. It doesn't matter. You're the person who is literally the detriment to somebody else's operation. And when you don't decide that you have a right to release this thing, to be compassionate to the thing that you're giving forgiveness to, you get to be free. That's what Zakiel shows you. He comes in SDA as Z. I heard Z. ZADIEL. I hope I'm spelling it right, y'all. But he comes in and it's like, first of all, you're not forgiving this. So there's this illumination of, okay, hey, I have this mother wound. Well, what is this mother wound? And you'll start looking at yourself. Like I said, a lot of people is gossip. A lot of people it is doing spell work against people because people don't want to be your friend. Instead of recognizing that it doesn't matter, like being so emotionally driven that you're attacking people because of how you feel. It's so weird, y'all. I've been experiencing and seeing so many different, I called it a Kendrick Lamar and like Drake, 444 version of like in the spiritual community. There are so many like leaders who are coming from each other. Spirit wanted me to say it that way, so I'm going to leave it. They're coming from each other. but they don't recognize it. They're fighting, but they don't recognize that the only reason why there's a need to fight is because there's a realization of one having to basically put out the other. And people don't want to sit down. People don't want to put away the shit that they've been doing because they free will, right? We always have free will. You're guided to do a thing, but then you also have the choice to move through it and not do it. You know, everything that I'm saying, y'all could tell me to chuck it, and that's your business. But I'm still gonna say it because I'm here doing the thing the spirit's calling me to do, which is be transparent, right? There's so many different versions and race of us that we're having the opportunity to be able to see that we're also being, right? We're also being it. I wasn't being myself because I cut myself off wanting to be respected, but I couldn't respect, I couldn't respect my mom because I didn't agree with a lot of decisions that she made. And because I didn't agree with the decisions she's made, I'd already considered her inadequate. So, God forbid any of the things that she did that were definitely in representation of inadequacy, it literally amplified the circumstance. We had a horrible playing field. So when I stopped doing this and I allowed myself to be at a rate to where I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, it had to have been hard for you to have your mom. Like, I'm sitting here dealing with my grandma on a spiritual rate, and she's my granny. She's my lady. But hey, it had to have been very difficult for you. I'm going to release a lot of this stuff that I was holding on to because I recognize I came from a rate where you were parenting me, but you was parented by her. Sheesh, right? The things that you were able to give me based off of what you were given was definitely improvement. And I appreciate it. And I know that this doesn't work for everybody's story yet. You have the ability to be at a rate to where you could see what it is that you were meant to grasp in this place. If this is something that the Most High was walking with me through, the Most High felt this. And this is why I'm now happen to be at a rate in experiencing what it felt like. One, I had to feel like what it felt like to birth me, y'all. When that stuff happened and I came to my mom, this was like in 2020, and I talked to my mom wasn't even aware of how much she revealed. She wasn't even aware of how much I was paying attention. And a lot of the times we have a rate of experiencing what it is that other people experience just by being present, you know? So forgive yourself first because that's where you want to start at. But forgive them. Forgive your mom. Forgive your grandmother. Forgive your great grandmother. Forgive and be free. Soon as you recognize that you truly forgiven, and what does true forgiveness look like? It means that I'm not going to hold on to the responsibility of correcting your action. I'm no longer going to hold you accountable, right? And what does that mean? Doesn't mean that I'm giving you, like, I'm letting you off. It means that I'm actually taking myself in a rate to where I'm going to do some wound care. I'm not waiting for you to come and fix this with me, right? I'm not waiting for you to make this right. Spirit will make it right. If I decide to acknowledge, that there is a cut here, and I do the surgery instead of me wanting to just lick my wounds and then act like nothing happened. Whatever works for you, do that. But if you really, really want to get beyond it, one, release the conditionings, forgive yourself, have compassion for the rate of the experience that you had. Sometimes that's just to you. Sometimes that's you speaking to your inner child and saying, I know that you went through a lot. But at this time, it's time for us to let go of it so we can have a new experience. Sometimes it's saying, hey, I know that you don't get this person, but they're not just this person. They're also this and they're that. And sometimes you have the opportunity to see the person behind, the mask that they've had to wear. All right. And just allow yourself to be free in it. Free looks like sovereignty. It looks like I went through all of this stuff, but I went through it. And now I'm here and now I'm showing up. Now I stopped bleeding, right? And I love myself. And I want that for all of y'all. Peace. I hope you have an amazing night. Star.